Okay, Sophie, thank you for that. Right, so what we're doing, being able to find angles that are subtended by parallel lines, and that's why I've written underlined subtended and written the word created. That's all it means. Okay, so if you have parallel lines and you draw a line across them, you end up with some angles. So if we have this, if we look at lines that cross, okay, it's got lines that cross, right? They do intersect, they intersect at this point, right? But when lines cross, you create angles, right? How many angles? Jana? 4 angles, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4 angles are created. Before you draw it, do you already know anything about those angles?
Yes.
Jamie?
There's 2 acute angles.
Yeah, okay. We've got acute angles and changing, we took rid of that. We have 2 acute angles, and therefore we have 2 obtuse angles. Nico?
They add up to 360.
All the angles add up to 360. Yeah, sum to 360 degrees. That's good. Yeah.
And the acute angles are less than 90, obtuse are more than 90?
Yeah, so the acute ones, if I label angles A, B, C and D, which ones are the acute angles? Jana? A and C. Okay. So it's A and C. Which ones are the obtuse angles then, Giselle?
B and D.
B and D, yeah. B and D are the obtuse angles. And if I add A, B, C and D together, I get 360. Do I know anything else about any angles in there?
Oh, there could be a 180 angle.
Yeah, okay. Which ones?
Well, no, if you just take one line away, it will be a 180.
Okay, so think that through. If I've got 4 angles here,
Just take
Two
away
Which-
two
which-
add up to
Take
180
away
and
D.
two add,
D and A.
2 of them add up to 180. Okay, so D add A, you are correct, is 180 degrees. Anything else?
C plus B.
2.
C plus B
Well,
make
any
180.
any two add
Any
up.
2.
Careful. Any
No.
2 add up?
No, it's
No.
not. No.
A and D, yes. B and C, yes.
A and B.
B and D.
A and B, yes. And
C and B.
C and
D.
D, yes. They all add up to 180 degrees.
Because then C and A add up to
Careful.
300.
No, you haven't guessed because we don't know. Think of a pair of scissors. Think of a pair of scissors. Okay. Right. What do you do with a pair of scissors?
You cut.
Imagine a pair of scissors is like the lines and they cross in the middle. What happens when you close the scissors up? The angles will change.
Acute.
Okay? So I can't say that this one and this one, A and C, add up to anything yet because that changes. But does, like if I look at my scissors, this one and this one inside always add up to 180, don't they? So if I think of, if I have my scissors, if I think of this horizontal piece as one line and then the other one moving, doesn't matter, that angle and that angle are always
The same.
180.
not the same, but
180.
add up to 180, yeah? Okay, and underneath we have the same thing. So even if I rotate the scissors a bit, that one and that one will always add up to 180, but that one and that one, okay, so in that diagram A and C, they change, so we can't say they add up to anything in particular, but there is something we can say about angles A and C and B and D. What can we say?
They're the same. Oh no. We don't know what it was. They're the same.
They're the same. Okay. If you think about a pair of scissors, Doesn't matter which way I hold it round. Okay. Imagine if it wasn't. So imagine I've got the two rulers instead replacing scissors. Okay. If I put a cross 90 degrees, all four angles are the same. Yeah. Now if I rotate one of them, that changes angle A and angle C, but it does the same. It's like not a mirror, is it? But the same thing happens to the bottom as the top, because it's a solid line. So what I can say is that angles A and C are equal. So A equals C, and B will always equal D. And these have a name. They are called
parallel, opposite.
Yeah, opposite angles. So I can say opposite angles are always
Opposite.
equal. Okay. Would you make your notes? So let's carry on. You've made your notes. Alright. So if I give you a couple of things to maybe work on, just to check.
Did you go up just a
You
slight
went
bit?
to another.
No, I've given you enough time.
But I didn't get the last bit. Opposite.
So,
Opposite angles are always equal. That's what you
if
wrote.
I tell you that's 80 degrees, I would like you to tell me those those three angles. Okay.
Please calculator.
So we don't actually need to use a
No, Jamie, you can't use a calculator for this one.
So we don't actually really need to measure them, right? Just to say.
No, it's not measuring at all. None of this topic you need to measure.
No, I mean like with the
I won't draw it, no. Because that isn't really 80 degrees. That doesn't look anything like 80 degrees. But if I say that's 115, find the other three angles. Okay? So that's what I'm going to get you to do. Question 1, question 2, find all the other angles. No measuring, definitely no calculator. We'll practice without.
Easy.
That's 160.
You're looking for it up like
you have haze.
Let's have a quick look. So, there's more than one way to do this. So all I really want is the right answer. So, Sophie, you wanted to do the second one, didn't you?
Go to the first one.
So Jamie, all right, do the first one.
So you have 80 on the bottom. So opposites are always equal. So
Okay,
the other
so
side's going to be 80.
So this side has to be 82. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you add the two together, you get
Yeah.
160.
Okay.
So you know that you have to calculate, because a whole circle is 360.
Yeah.
So you have to subtract 160
Sorry.
from 360.
So that makes 160. The whole thing is 360. So we've got 360 minus 160. That should say 160 by the way. I should write it correct. Which leaves
200.
200.
And then you know you still have two angles to calculate. So
Yeah.
you need to divide the answer, 200, by 2 to fit in to that angle at the bottom and the top.
Okay, because both of those are also
An angle.
but opposite
Equal,
angles,
they're
so
also
they're
the
the
same.
same. So that's why I'm allowed to divide by 2. So that makes 100.
So you get 100 on each side.
We
And
have
you can
100
check it by
there.
going 100 plus 100 is 200. 80 plus 80 is 160.
There is a maybe slightly easier way, a bit quicker way. Right? The other way is, well, the first one, 80, that's fine. But do you not remember that instead of doing everything is 360, half, so that angle plus that angle,
180.
has to add up to 180. So I would have got straight there anyway, look. Yeah? So that angle there is 180. So I could have just done, if that's 80, that's 80, therefore that and that must make 180, so it must be 100. Right, just slightly easier. So, but you've got the right answer, so it doesn't matter. Sophie, what would you say now then?
Should I explain it like Jamie?
You explain it like you want to explain.
Okay. So you start off with 115 on one side. So
Yeah.
opposites are always the same, so
Yeah.
you do 115 there.
So 115 there, yeah.
And 115 times 2 is 230.
Okay.
And altogether the angles have to add up to 360. So 360 minus 230 is 130. And 130 divided by 2 is 65.
So that's 65 and that's 65. Again though, just to make it clear,
Yeah.
if that's 115, that's 115, and this one, and it doesn't matter which ones you pick,
It makes
but
180.
those two make 180. So I could have just done 115 add what makes 180. Up to you. Again, you get the right answer. That's all we really need, isn't it? Make sense? Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll give you another one.
Oh, are there lines that are called perpendicular lines?
There are, yeah. We'll probably talk about them.
Oh, perpendicular are ones that are going to cross.
But they cross at 90 degrees.
Yeah, they cross at 90.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you that is
Oh my gosh, that's too hard. Mr.
95.
Paul.
Okay. Yes, you
We
can.
can't.
I'm going to tell you
Not
this
doing it.
one is 65. I'm going to tell you this one is 84. Okay. I'm going to tell you that this one is 45. And I'm going to ask you to tell me these angles. So A, tell me B, bless you. I'm going to ask you to tell me C. So 3 angles.
So you want us to find
I
360
want-
of the whole thing?
I want you to work out everything you know to work out those 3 angles. Now they don't have to be done in any particular order, but you're going to work out those 3 angles. Okay?
No,
See.
I don't know how to do this.
I have no idea how to do this.
Ping pong.
Okay, shall we have a look
no,
at the
no,
ones
no, wait.
do you know how? Well, let's do the ones we do know. First one that's the easiest, Jamie.
45.
Oh, just randomly
B is
45.
45.
B is 45. Okay.
How?
And for what reason?
Opposites. Opposites are the same.
Because
so-
opposite 45, B has to be 45. Okay? So we've got B. B is 45. Okay. A or C? Anyone want to say?
Wait, I'm doing C.
Good. Well, what about A? We got A?
Yeah.
Sophie, what do you reckon?
Would it be 65?
Would it be 65? What's your reasoning for it to be 65?
Well,
That only makes it.
okay, that's good, that's good. I
Yeah.
can see better. Because right, like in front of A is 65. Yeah.
Well, is that something we've talked about though? What have we said? So really,
Oh, it's 45.
why? No, I mean
No.
that's there. What is A linked
84,
to?
84.
Jana, what do you think?
95.
95. You think? Why? What would you say? 95.
Because it's on the same.
It's on the same line, but it's not opposite.
85.
It's not opposite. This one
84.
is 95. Nico,
85.
why is it 85?
Because 95 and 95 add up to
So remember.
210 and then 85 and
Or, remember what I said with the other ones? This
85
one
and
and this-
95 add up to 180.
Yeah, those two add up to 180. Okay, on the line, add up to 180. So 95 plus what makes 180? So
85.
it's 85. Okay,
And then C, Can I
All
show
right,
it to the...
we're then looking at C. I'm going to zoom in just so I can write clearer. Might make it a bit easier. So C doesn't have anything to do with the other ones. So if we write things that we know, what do we know in this situation? Well, for instance, I'll give you a clue. I know this one is 65. It might not help me, but I do know it. So what else do I know?
84.
Millie?
The other side of the 84.
So here is 84 as well, okay?
That's useless.
It's not useless
Because
because, and here you go, I'll give you the tip. What shape is this?
Triangle.
A triangle.
A triangle has 180 degrees
A
in
triangle
total.
has
So
100.
that's
Also, 180 divided by 3.
No, not divided by 3 because that would mean they were all the same.
Oh, yeah.
But we do have a triangle, so 65 plus 84 plus C should equal 180. So 65 plus 84, that's the hardest one. So if we add the
29.
4, that makes 69.
129.
So if we do 69 plus 80 instead, that might make,
149.
so that would make 149, you're right.
Sorry.
So 149 plus what makes 180?
Oh, plus
So plus 1
plus
would make
31.
31, well done. So C is
30.
31. So that's what we've got for C. 31 degrees.
Isn't there 3 different triangles? There's one called the right. No, there's one called the equilateral triangle.
Yeah.
And there's another one right there. If you just
Equilateral triangle.
Oh, there. Well,
right angle.
no, there. Look. Do you see where the tip of C?
yeah.
Yeah, there, and just connect it to, like, just go straight to where it says 180 at the top.
Oh,
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
But it's only a
That's
triangle if I
a-
draw a line.
I know, but
There's
that's
lots of triangles
only-
there. There's another triangle here if I do that big triangle.
I know, but there's only 3 we know. So
Suppose-
we're saying
Well, I tell you what,
equilateral.
here's a good little extension actually, right? We should be able to test our answers are correct. Because what if I actually look at this triangle? Now it's a big triangle. What should happen with the angles in this triangle? Again, they should add up to.
180.
So really, 31 plus
85.
85.
Plus 45.
Oh, it's not working. Plus 45. They should equal 180. Do they?
Wait, 31 plus 45 is
Yes, they do, Mr. Potts, they do.
76. And 76 plus 85. Oh, is 420. Wait, 31 plus 45 is 76, right? Wait. 76.
suppose for this one,
Well,
I
Think-
made the lines bigger, like that.
Oh, 161.
I made them longer.
okay, you've made it
130.
No, it's 161.
This look, 45 and 85, well that makes 90, 130, 161, 161 degrees. Now, the thing is,
Oh, it's not the same.
well, the thing is, it should be. So what we can do, what we can assume from this, the fact that that doesn't work, is that the angles that I chose for my diagram don't work. They're not correct, but they served a purpose for me to get you to work out these ones. So what you did for these angles is fine, but actually as a diagram, as a whole, it doesn't work. Okay? But we don't have to worry about that, but that is, normally that should work as well. But what that means is, I just guessed some values that looked about right, but it doesn't work. Alright, as a whole. This bit works, fine, this little triangle. These angles work, but as a whole diagram, I haven't given you one that works properly. Okay? But then that's why I didn't ask that question. What?
So the answer will be.
Because really, C could have been a different answer. You could have used those two to work out that and it would have been fine. Okay? Right. Let's move on. Okay?
Wait, but what would C be then?
You were right with C, 31, for the numbers that I gave you. We were right, but I'm just showing you how sometimes it can work in one way, but not. I would have to be very careful about the question that I gave you. Okay, if it was a test or something, but I'd have to make it up properly. Right, what we need to move on to though, okay, are angles in parallel lines.
Oh yes.
Okay, so parallel lines. So when we draw parallel lines, do you know the definition of parallel lines? They will never meet. And examples of parallel lines in real world?
The board.
Road, maybe not actually.
No, actually,
The
roads.
board.
Roads can get narrower. The
Oh,
board,
the
yeah,
board.
okay. The edge of the board,
The poster.
parallel.
The poster.
Posters, yeah.
Oh,
The
actually,
Paper.
then like, for example, the number 1, like just the straight number 1.
Yeah, but that's not
Oh, no,
parallel
not
because there's
two
got to be two
lines.
lines. Train tracks. Tell me why train tracks have to be parallel.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because a train at fast speed it can't do the curve.
No, because curve can still be parallel.
Oh,
Because
because they never touch. Oh yes.
Because if they got
a
closer
train
together,
can't go on one thing.
and also it won't come off one rail, will it? Imagine if the tracks got narrower, what would the train do at that point? It would come off the rails, and it would. So
Wait, your tie isn't parallel because it meets at the end, right?
yeah, and it gets wider. My tie gets wider,
Oh yeah, because
therefore.
it does intersect.
Yeah, it gets so.
But it intersects
well, it
because you
doesn't
closed it.
Yeah, it does intersect, but imagine if I carried on having a tie in infinite length, it would just get fatter and fatter and fatter, and at the other end it would get so small that it would meet, so it would stop. So my tie hasn't got parallel sides. But for instance, a table, the top of a table, if you carried on these sides forever, you'd have the same table all the way along, same width. That's how we make tables longer. Because imagine if a table was not parallel, eventually it would come to a stop and it would be a what shape?
Triangle.
A triangle. It would be a triangle. So we've got parallel lines, their lines never meet. We have a symbol so that you can draw on your diagram so that people know the lines are parallel even if you don't draw them quite accurately enough. Because it might be really almost impossible to actually draw parallel lines unless you've got squares on the paper. But what we do to denote parallel lines, we put arrows. Now, you can either do arrow like that or just like that, doesn't matter. But if you've got the same symbol on both lines, okay, if you've got the same symbol, so that means those two lines are parallel. Now, if I draw two other lines, okay, which I also say are parallel, but not parallel to the other two, what symbol do you think I could use to say those two are parallel? Sophie?
Just arrows.
So you think if I did an arrow like that and an arrow like that, that's what we would do, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Why not, Millie? You shook your head. What's the problem with that?
Because
You said it.
You put two
You
lines.
said it in a way that it's not right.
I said it in a way that is not right. Too suspicious of me.
You put a cross in
Well, the thing is, now what happens is, right? What happens is, if I put an arrow the same as those, I'm saying that all four lines are parallel. So if I put a third line parallel to the other two, that one can have an arrow, because it is parallel. But these two are not parallel
Double
to those. Yes, makes sense. Second set of parallel lines has two arrows. And if I had a third set,
Three arrows.
three arrows. Okay. Next lesson we'll look at angles created when we cross parallels. Okay?